Welcome to this week's episode of Streamers Unmasked, everybody. This is the podcast where you get to learn about the lives, loves, and maybe even libations of the streamers that we fill our lives with. Why am I doing Streamers Unmasked? Well, newsflash, streaming and content creation in general is very difficult. Whether you just started streaming in order to show your skills off to your friends, to become rich and famous, to hang out with your buddies, or just to have a damn good time, no matter your reasons for starting to stream, and no matter your motivations for getting into the game, there are literally millions of people you are competing with, and it is not an easy job. You're putting yourself out there in hopes to connect with others on your stream with a chance that you will literally see nobody, absolutely nobody, and it's very difficult to go up there and to try to put your best forward no matter the results, and you can't control these results at all. Meanwhile, there's about 1,000 different things going on your stream at any given point, whether it's technology, etc., etc. And, anyway, the name for the podcast came from We Wear the Mask by Paul Lawrence Dunbar. It reads, "We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This that we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise, counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us, while we wear the mask. We smile, but O great Christ our cries, to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh that clay is vile, beneath our feet and along the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask." So, in the context of the podcast and in everyday life, what the poem means to me is that we go out into our everyday lives and we put a good face on and try to put our best foot forward. Often as streamers, we wear bigger and fancier masks than other people because we're coming out here, we're trying to entertain, we're trying to put on a good show for everybody else, and we don't always let our true selves or our true feelings be shown. Streamers are everyday people with real lives, real feelings, real hopes, and real expectations. But the podcast, the way this works is we will start with some IRL questions, move into gaming questions, streaming questions, and then at some point towards the end, we will stop and let all of you guys, we will answer all the audience questions. There's a channel point reward for that. And then finish it up with a bang, hopefully. But without further ado, we have the variety / mainly RPG streamer, I feel like I can say, streamer Anthogator. Welcome to the Streamers Unmasked, Anthogator.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I've seen a little bit of this podcast and how great you are with your guests and everything, and I'm excited to be on. Yeah. Hi.
I'm glad you think that I'm great with the guests, because sometimes I feel like some people come on here and they think I'm sorry, that's a different show. So how are you doing today, Antho?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to the weekend. I've got a Pillow Fort stream that I'm doing later tonight that I've been all stressed out planning for. So I'm excited to get to that. It's gonna be fun.
How big is the Pillow Fort gonna be? How
Well,
many
I'll be
pillows will
building it
used in
on
the making of
stream.
the fort?
So
Oh, you're building it on stream, so you don't know yet.
yeah, exactly.
So
we'll have adult Capri Suns and puzzles and stuff.
I like those. I like those a lot. How about we start off by just getting a little bit to know you, just general information that you're willing to share. Things like how old you are, where you're from, what do you do for a living, anything like that.
Yeah. So I'm Anthogator. My real name is Anthony. The name Anthogator actually just comes from my cousin. We were making fun of my other cousin Amber, and her nickname in high school was Amberger, and she told us not to call her that. So of course she's our cousin, so we did, and that just turned into us making a bunch of names out of each other's names, and one of them said Anthogator, and that stuck. About me, I don't know. I've kind of done a little bit of this and that, kind of everything. I'm a teacher now. I'll be starting my first year of actually being a PE teacher this next year for middle school kids. So far, only one of my students has ever found my stream, and I hope it stays that way. But yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly terrible at selling myself, so I don't know what else to say.
Well, first off, congratulations on actually becoming a full-time teacher. I know that you were a substitute
Thank you.
teacher before, so obviously now you filling in a spot as a teacher. Was being a PE teacher what you had in mind when you decided to be a teacher?
Actually, it is. So I graduated from college a couple years ago with a degree in health and exercise science. And I found while I was studying that a physiology class that I took, I ended up tutoring that class for the additional 2 years after I took it. Um, I just fell in love with the way our body works and how everything is interconnected. It's kind of like this whole big story that you have to learn all the little bits and pieces of, and all the details are important. And so when I decided to go into teaching, it just felt natural that that is what I would want to do. And so being the PE teacher for the most part is going to be, blowing a whistle and yelling at kids to stop smelling so bad. But, then I'll at least get to tell them why they're smelling so bad and how to eat better to smell less bad.
If you don't mind me asking, what grade levels are you teaching?
Middle school, so 6th through 8th grade. Yeah.
And I kind of got that hint when you said why they're smelling so bad, but I just wanted to make sure there are still some high schoolers that might not know about the whole deodorant stick. I've met a few in my past life, 10, 11 years ago. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, same. Absolutely.
What is your family unit like?
Oh man. Okay, so my parents were both in the Navy. And they divorced when I was very young. Like 9 months old is when they split. And so I grew up with 4 parents. My dad, my stepmom, my mom, my stepdad. My stepdad has since passed away. And my dad has since remarried again. And my half brother is on my dad's side with his second wife. So it's complicated. And there have been a lot of periods of, I don't want to say bad blood, but not being close. But honestly, these days I get along with everyone, at least everyone that's still alive. And yeah, they're all good people. I love each and every one of them, but differently, if that makes sense.
I feel really silly for just thinking about this question, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me because this is a very, very flared topic for a lot of people. Anth, but do you have any pets?
I do. Yeah. So actually, this blanket that is on this chair behind me, I don't know if you can see that, is a picture of my cat Kylie. She's my one cat. And when I went to Australia for 7 months, I left her with my ex-stepmom, and my stepmom took a picture of her out in the snow like that and sent me that blanket. And yeah, she's amazing. She just got diagnosed with diabetes a couple months ago, so that's been a struggle. I have to give her a shot twice a day and keep her limited on food and make sure she's acting right every day. But she's a total sweetheart. I absolutely love her.
No more pet treats on stream.
Exactly. Yeah. I did. I was feeding her so many pets on stream because everyone kept redeeming it and feeding her. And now it's just give her pets. Pick her up, show her off. So
at least it's a condition that she can live with. I know that sometimes you get your pet into the vet and it's just like, oh, you know what?
yeah, and actually diabetes in cats is reversible, not unlike humans. So as long as I, keep her fed with the right food and give her the insulin every day for a while, there is a chance that she'll be able to stop taking insulin, and just keep eating the right food. So
That's actually great. I did not
yeah,
know that. It's amazing. I mean, I wish it was possible for us to have a reverse, but thankfully, maybe one day she can actually be cured. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So there's hope.
Do you have any hobbies outside of Twitch?
Oh, I used to. you know, gosh, I mean, I love doing all kinds of stuff. I love, uh, going hiking, kayaking, any of that kind of outdoorsy stuff. When I was growing up, I used to play sports a lot. Um, I miss playing soccer. I wish I could go and play soccer again. I used to fence. I used to play lacrosse. Um, but yeah, then my hobbies became World of Warcraft, and that crushed everything else in my life for a while. I finally cut that out, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to introduce something that takes up just as much time, and now I stream.
If not more. You're
Yep.
like, move over, World of Warcraft. I got a whole new world of craziness coming in my life.
At least I get to do so many variety of things while streaming, which was not the case while playing WoW.
I will definitely say that I kind of had the same situation when I was playing League of Legends. I feel like MMOs and MOBAs are very similar, but if you really get into them, it's
Yeah.
like it's the only game you're gonna play. So have fun with that one game. So when I actually got done with League of Legends recently, it's just, I mean, same thing here. I'm just playing whatever I want on stream. I played League of Legends once as a gag. Somebody will tell you they beat me. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. But it's actually almost like it's weird because you love the game, like you fall in love with the game and you play it so much. But it's kind of like, I don't know if, I guess I should ask you if you felt the same way. It's almost like a relief after you stop.
Oh, for sure. Because, well, I mean, I don't know if you've played an MMO. I know you played League, is what you're just talking about, but the MMO felt in a lot of ways like home most of the time. I literally I would get home and I would get comfortable when I sat in front of my computer and started chatting with my guild mates online and everything, and that was what became my home. And so I guess I didn't really feel a kind of relief with like quitting playing the game, but I definitely felt some relief when I realized I had opportunities to go actually see other friends and actual family, you know.
What kind of music are you interested in?
Oh gosh. So I've always said that there's really only two genres of music that I don't like. Country and jazz. And I've actually had a lot of really in-depth conversations about why I don't like jazz. Country is just it's just crap, and I won't be convinced otherwise. Jazz though, jazz, I can respect the talent and the skill and everything in the music, but like there's something about the way jazz comes across, and it's so like what's the word? Improvisational, and the melody will change like from beat to beat, and I can't listen to that. Like there's something about that. Like what I need is a consistent melody, something that I can hum along to, if not sing along to, or dance to, right? And jazz just doesn't give me that. It interrupts my flow of things by changing all the time. So I can respect it, but I can't listen to it.
Do you have a favorite band?
If you had asked me 2 years ago, I would have said Matoma. He's what I don't even know what the right word is, right? Uh
Not a country musician.
Not a country musician, no. If you know Kygo, he's kind of like Kygo. Kygo's kind of the mainstream version of him, is what I see. Except he does a lot of remixes of some older hip hop stuff and then puts it into a genre called tropical house that I find really fun. And I can dance to it, so I like it. But these days, I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite band. tough.
How do you take in your media? Do you watch Netflix, Hulu? Do you have cable?
I have never paid for cable in my life. 31 years old, never paid for cable. Never will. Um, so Netflix, Amazon Prime, are my two main sources, and I actually watch a lot of YouTube. I think I'm one of the only people I know that has the YouTube Premium subscription because I watch so goddamn much of it, I can't handle the ads, and so I just paid to get rid of the ads.
And that's actually super fair because I have Twitch Turbo for that exact reason. I can't afford to sub to everybody, so after a while, like I might have been going a little crazy. Let's be honest. So after a while, I was like,
Yeah.
listen, I'm gonna get Turbo, and then I will never see another ad. And from what I understand, though, and I don't know if YouTube is the same way, I do know this. I was told this about Twitch Turbo is that the streamers you watch, though, even though you don't see the ad, they still get ad revenue for your view through Twitch Turbo. This is what I was told. If I'm lying, I'm lying.
That's good. I mean, truthfully, I think I've been streaming for a year now, and I think if you look up how much money I've made from ads, it's still like 15 cents. Like,
Oh, it's like so many people know that I started running ads on my channel. I still do, from time to time, and I make at most $1 a month. And I know some people would probably be like, "Oh man, this guy running ads." It's like, listen, you don't understand. You are not this one person who's coming in who might be seeing this ad who's new here. You are not gonna make me a bunch of money off this ad. This is just so that the next half hour, nobody else has to deal with the bullshit.
right?
But yeah, the most I made, it might have been $1.10. It might have been $1.10, and that's with ads every hour for, I don't know, 50 hours worth of content, maybe. So yeah.
So you are actually running those mid-roll ads in order to keep those pre-roll ads from coming in?
Yeah, it's something I've been doing a while. I actually have a command here. So you see ad time command, and then now I'm gonna make them watch an ad. Probably only 30 seconds this time, but they won't mind. You know what I'm saying? They won't mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was just waiting to see how many people were like, "Is this guy really gonna run an ad right now?" I won't do that. Do you like to cook?
Okay, so that's a yes and a no. That's a complicated question because I actually do enjoy cooking. But only for special occasions. I'm not the kind of person who can cook every day, and so I don't, which causes me to be unhealthy. Even though I studied health science and I know how bad it is to eat out all the time, I still do it because I can't make myself cook every day. But when I've got the budget for a nice meal, especially if I'm making it for someone else, I love cooking. I love taking the time to put my love and care and energy into that. So yeah.
I mean, I guess that begs the question then. If you were sent to a desert island and you could only pick one thing to eat, what would it be?
Oreos.
Oreos? First person who's gone with dessert with that one, and you know what? I respect it. I respect it. You're like, listen, I'm not going to get overly fat because if you eat too many Oreos, they just come back out,
No, truthfully, if I had to pick one meal, I mean, actually knowing the benefits and everything, I actually would have to go for steak. If I could just have steak every day, for every meal, I wouldn't be upset, I guess. That'd be fine.
And of course, because I do everything out of order here, what is your favorite Disney movie?
Oh, easy question. There's only one top Disney movie, and anyone who disagrees, frankly, is wrong. You can rank all the others in any order you like. Although, frankly, there's a few that belong towards the top of the list. But The Lion King has to be number one. If The Lion King is not the number one, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with you. You need to maybe go to the doctor, get yourself checked out. Something's not right.
If The Lion King is not the top of your Disney pyramid, you might want to see a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. It's only fair.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Okay. Um, I've been asked this question a lot in my life, mostly by kids, right? And it's hard, right? Because there's a lot of things that would be really great. If I could have super speed, I mean, I could just get anywhere. I could go anywhere and just I could just on my break from work, if I was fast enough, I could go relax on a beach in Cabo, That'd be awesome.
I just
Super strength, I could do anything. Like, you know, get any but like I get anything. But realistically, I don't know if anything could top time travel. Speaking of pets, here's Kylie. But yeah, time travel would have to be my answer. If I could just go
Kitty.
back in time, go forward in time, whatever. Hi,
I will,
Kylie.
I will say two things. So first off, I like how you called me out by saying most of the kids. I get it. Fine. It's a weird question for an adult to ask. I get it. Second off, actually, one of the best answers that I've heard is time travel, or like the ability to freeze time, and what the person said was that they would take naps, like they would sleep during this period,
Yes.
and I was just like, this is like the best answer I've ever heard, because I
Right?
would always
Yeah.
be like, if I could just like imagine like if before every stream you could just take a 2 hour nap, but it was the same time of day.
Dude, if I could tackle anything whenever I felt like it, that would be amazing. You know? Oh my god. If I could just fast forward to after I've done the dishes? Ha! Yes, please.
How about you share a one moment in your life, a proud moment in your life, Antho, and then you can do an embarrassing one too afterwards.
Ooh,
Just
a
yin and yang it
proud
for me.
moment. A proud moment in my life. Okay. Gosh. So here's something about me is I actually am terrible at remembering uh the good things that have happened to me, the nice things people have done for me, the accomplishments I've made. I'm actually terrible at remembering those. So that's actually a really difficult question for me to think back and answer. Um, but hmm, if I really thought about it, one of the earliest real feelings of accomplishment that I felt like I got in my life was my first year of college. I was in a community college right out of high school. Um, and this happened to be one of the three colleges on the West Coast that offered fencing sport. And so as soon as I found that out, I signed up, took the classes and everything, and I took the classes for that first semester, took fencing my second semester as well. Just I loved it. I wanted everything to do with it. And after the second semester, the coach asked me if I wanted to be his assistant coach for a summer school, little camp for fencing. And that was like the first time that like my investment into something had paid off into an opportunity, I guess. Um, and the first time I felt like I had really earned anything in my life. And so yeah, I think that'd have to be my answer.
Did my ears just pop, or did you just get quieter in the middle of your explanation?
Uh, I don't think I intended to get quieter in the middle of my explanation.
Like
Am I
legit,
still?
not like something you would have done on purpose. Like I remember I had like I mean, now I'm checking to see if it was this headphone. I had a headphone, right? And if I put it up, it would halfway mute. Okay, it is. All right, good. Never mind. We're good. We're good. So long as it's just me, we're fine. I think it was just me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and my like ears did something like that's why I asked, because I was just like this. It's not reading any different on here, but for some reason now my brain is just going, why is he so quiet? Um,
I've done that before. My headset has two volume things. One on the right, the pure volume, and one that like switches between game and chat audio. And I've accidentally like flipped one all the way up or all the way down while adjusting things, and then I'm like, why can't I hear things anymore? What's going on? And I just get totally lost for like 5 minutes.
No clue. Whatever. All right, so I broke it, but that's okay. How about an embarrassing moment?
An embarrassing moment. Boy. Hmm. I don't know that I've. Well, okay. A recent embarrassing moment. There's a clip of this on my Twitch channel if you really want to go see it. Um, I don't know why this is so embarrassing to me, but it is. I just get red every time I think about it. Uh, so if a viewer sits in my chat for long enough to get like I think it's like 10,000 channel points, they can make me sing a song. Now I always sing this song with the music in the background. And apparently this time when someone requested that I play whatever or sing whatever song I wanted to sing, I pulled up Can't Touch This by MC Hammer, or You Can't Touch This, that's the technical name of it. And I didn't have my audio settings right, so I could hear the song and they couldn't. All they could hear was me just rapping along to You Can't Touch This, overlaid on top of some nice, gentle Final Fantasy lo-fi music. Oh. No one told me. They went the whole song. Not a soul told me. Until afterward. And I died. I just died inside. I've never felt that embarrassed. I can't believe that happened.
It's so normal for some reason. Like, I will go forever, and I mean by like forever, I mean like a while. Like my buddy the other day was like, "Hey, I think your stream's lagging," and literally everybody else was like, "Nah." And then he's like, "Oh my god, like why is it doing this?" And then I look at the replay on my screen, and the shit was super laggy, and I'm just like, same thing with any audio ever. Like, my first podcast, actually, I did an interview of myself. This one was great. So I put a couple of different voices on there because I was doing like, I got a gamer god voice for the gamer god on my stream. Great, awesome. And then I also had like a female one for like a joke bit at the start because I tried to put some humor in, right?
Yeah.
So I hit the female voice and put up the female picture, dicking around like in the middle of it, thinking I'm fucking hilarious. Like, okay, improv on the spot, boom, right? And then afterwards, I fucking...
Did you forget to take it off?
I didn't take it off the female voice, so half of the interview is in this female voice. Nobody told me, and then at the fucking end, even better, somebody finally goes, "Oh, are we supposed to hear that clicking noise every time you hit the button?" I'm like, "Oh, you could fucking hear." Like, nobody could tell me at the start that there was a clicking noise. So like every time I would push like the voice mod on it, would go boom. Boom.
Oh no.
Boom.
This is what I don't get why people don't say that when
because
they
don't
hear
want
you talking in a female
they
voice.
It's because like in your head, I think what it is in your head as a person who's streaming, and also like just as a streamer in general, you're like, oh, people are gonna tell me. Even like you can ask and people, nobody wants to hurt your feelings. Like nobody wants to be mean. So sometimes they're just like, maybe he knows that there's this super fucking irritating noise going every single fucking. And I mean, I was doing like 3-word exchanges, right? So I would do like a 3-word exchange and then hit the button and then go boop and then 4 more words, hit the button. Oh man. Nothing tops like the fucking top stream fuck ups. Like it's just, I mean, there's that and then there's me breaking that ship in half. But that has been.
Hey, that actually was a classic moment. That's fantastic.
It wouldn't be. I don't know if that would have been embarrassing without the noise. the squeal of not delight going on there was I didn't know I could make. I can't recreate that noise, right? Like that's just now ingrained in my soul.
Can you try right now?
Ah! My son made I don't think I did it right though, because it was like the fear in the moment of like I'm breaking this thing he spent hours on, just like Or I'm,
That,
it made me feel like a great dad.
it's great content though, if that makes you feel better. The worse of a dad you are, the better content it is. So
within reason, I think we need to go within reason. The worse of a dad you are, within reason, you start,
yes.
certain things live on stream. You shouldn't have a discussion of whether you should use an open hand or closed fist. That's not streaming content.
Unless you're talking about like pushing the refrigerator back into place. That's what you're talking about, right? So
clearly, those are refrigerator tactics. So before I get canceled over making jokes about child rearing, moving on to the gaming question.
Yeah, I'm a teacher, so they'll cancel me first. Don't worry.
Oh man. Do you like video games? You like video games, Antho?
I do. I've played them all my life. Yeah. I still remember one of the most scarring moments I've ever had in my life was when I was in like, I don't know, 5th grade, and I don't even remember what I did. I did something wrong. I'm sure I was wrong, and to put me in trouble, my stepdad told me that he was going to take away one of my games. And so he came in, he pointed at my Sega Genesis, and he asked me, which of these is your favorite? And I knew he was going to take away my favorite. So I lied and told him my least favorite. And I think I pointed at like my Power Rangers fighting game or something like that. And he grabbed it and he broke the cassette right in front of me. I was mortified. I still think about that all the time. I can picture him breaking that right in front of me. It was horrific.
That's aggressive.
So yeah.
Speaking of child rearing and video games, so this one time my dad just went, and mind you, this isn't like a CD disc that like anybody can break. This is like a Nintendo cartridge, just boom. I don't think I have that strength. I have a couple. I would try it, but I don't want to look like too much of a wuss on my own stream, so I'm just gonna leave them over there in the closet. You know what I'm saying? Would you consider yourself good at video games, Anth?
I would consider myself good at some video games. Yes. It used to be I didn't consider myself good at Final Fantasy, which is one of the main series of games that I play. But since I've started streaming it, I've also started watching a lot of other people stream it, and I'm actually surprised by how much knowledge I actually have picked up over the years about the series that I didn't realize I had. It's become kind of my baseline for all games, and it's not everyone else's baseline, and it kind of blows me away, and it makes me realize that for those, I mean, yeah, I think I am pretty good.
I will be the first person to admit that Final Fantasy was my baseline for video games for 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, no, wait, not 20. See, listen, I did shitty math for like 15 years until I was just older than 20. There we go. That's better math. Sorry about that.
What became your new baseline?
Dark Souls. And now that's not even my baseline anymore. I would say my baseline now, as far as like total, like just complete wanderlust over a game, would be Hollow Knight would probably be my baseline for like, if you can top Hollow Knight, you're doing some shit. Like, no, literally, like you're doing something, and I'm eating it with a video game spoon.
Okay. Can't get into those kinds of games.
I mean, so I feel like it's understandable that not everybody, I'm just sitting here going, yeah, I'm just going to list off of a whole bunch of, chronically difficult video games. But I think
it's not
after
the difficulty for me, it's not. It's the freedom. It's the open choice. If I tried to sit there and play Hollow Knight, I wouldn't know where to go. I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't.
You know what?
I can't play Minecraft.
That's fair.
I don't like playing Minecraft.
Metroidvanias can be. I started a brand new Metroidvania on stream. It's called Ender Lilies. I'm wicked hype over it. And first off, I got lost. Like, unreasonably lost when there was like a different
Yeah.
path that I remembered yesterday being like, oh, I have to remember this path. Forgot the path. And so I looked every single other spot for it was over an hour. Like I'm probably like 5 levels higher than I should be because I just cycled through looking for spots. And then I finally found the spot and I was just like, yeah, there's that path I said I should remember. Yep, that one that one right there. Yeah, that's the one I didn't go to. But no, I can understand that. I think that as you said, like there's so much choice, and it's funny too, though, too with games like that because there'll be so much choice, and there'll be the exact situation, right? Like you'll be playing through Hollow Knight, and you'll be like, I don't know where to go. There's 8 different directions. Where am I supposed to go? Mm-hmm. And then sometimes there's only one place where you can actually get to. Like sometimes there's a couple, but other times it's like no, you can literally only get to this one place. And well, it's a giant map, and you didn't see the little dot over in the one corner.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, like I don't know how to put it because it's weird because I love exploring in games as long as I have like an objective where I can know where it is I need to go. Like, and this is why I say like I think Final Fantasy is kind of my baseline for gaming, right? You know, I love exploring these wide open worlds that Final Fantasy has to offer. And I know that okay, I can't go to this one village unless I want to progress the story because that's where the stuff happens. And when I'm done exploring, now I know where to go.
See, you play Final Fantasy the right way. That's the problem here, is you play it the right way, right? You find where you're supposed to go, and you go.
Right.
You're like, here's where the town is, this circle, and then the whole map is everything else. So this circle is where you're not at, and everything else is where you're at. Like, anywhere you can find other... Like, that's exactly how you should play that game.
Yep. I get stressed out when I'm playing... Like, Final Fantasy VIII is what I'm playing right now, and there's been a couple... like dungeons where I'm like, I don't know if I go into the next room, if I'll be able to go back and explore all the other rooms. I don't know if it will still be there, and I get stressed out. I really do.
When will it all disappear?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Like, the reason why video games are so awesome in general is because there's so many different video games, so there's a video game for everybody. Yeah. But
yeah,
that also means that, well, I truly believe that almost any video game is somebody's favorite video game. Like, there'll be somebody out here who that's their favorite for whatever reason. There's also video games that almost like that most people would like that you're just like, nope. I mean, there's some people that like Zelda 2 out there.
Well, there's I mean, Zelda as a franchise is a franchise that is one of the most beloved franchises in gaming history. I don't like it. I don't like any of it. I've now played 4 of the games. I don't like it. There have been bits and pieces that have been like I just quit playing Ocarina of Time because I couldn't do it. I don't like the way the whole like game is set up. It throws me off my baseline, I guess, in ways that I don't know how to handle. So it's not for me.
I think that's fair because I'm a highly skeptic Zelda player, which is why I'm doing Legend of Zelda, which is my journey through Zelda, trying to understand everybody's love for it. And I've been trying to be quite honest with it. Like, I definitely like some games more than others, but I'll be like in certain parts of the game and I'll be like, this is why I don't like this shit.
Yeah.
Like, well, Zelda 2, like the first 5 minutes I was just like, okay, this is fine. 2 hours in, I'm like, this isn't okay. 3 hours in, okay, fine, Link to the Past tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, actually, I really enjoyed the first dungeon of Zelda 2, actually. I really did. I thought it was a really cool game and innovative and neat. And then I got past the first dungeon and it wasn't fun anymore.
I mean, yep, that's exactly where I got in the game before it wasn't fun anymore. I started going through, you have to go through like a tunnel, and there's some really like strong enemies at the end of the tunnel. And then you get over to this open field with more strong enemies, and then you die, and then you have to go back. It's 'cause there's no like checkpoint either. You know
Right.
what? It was. Let's not talk about the dark times, okay? Let's talk about good times. Speaking of good times, then, are
Yeah.
you an Xbox person, PlayStation person, or would you consider yourself a member of the PC master race?
Oh, I like that you're not even including Nintendo in there. That's
I mean, so
wow.
I thought about it when we were talking about Zelda. I thought about how I never said Nintendo, but then like they were never part of the console wars. They kind of like eluded it because everybody just buys. You know, I won't. We're not trying to rant here. So yeah, what's your favorite system and/or computer?
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up as a PlayStation boy. Absolutely. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 are the top two consoles ever made, period, hands down. Number 3 is Sega Genesis, and then you can argue about other systems. Um but uh with the state of gaming as it is, I find PC gaming is just so much more accessible to so, it's such a variety of games available to PC. Almost everything is on PC. I can emulate, all of the Game Boy systems out there. I'm emulating all the older consoles. It's just the way to be nowadays, unless you really want brand new AAA titles. That's the only reason to go for consoles, in my opinion.
I mean, I would also just like to add to your point with PlayStation Now and what is the Xbox One that's available, whatever they're
Game
called.
Pass?
Yeah, Game Pass. With PlayStation Now and Game Pass available on PC, they're technically cheating now. There's so many games that were never available that were like console specific that now they're just all coming together on PC. So
Mhm. I mean, even the Kingdom Hearts franchise just came to PC. Granted, it's on Epic, which is a whole different conversation, but
okay, listen, we could have a whole conversation, but Epic Games also gave me the Darkest Dungeon for free last
that's a good game.
Christmas. Yeah, I'm gonna play it soon. It's one that I know is gonna need time though, so I'm waiting until I feel like I'm at the darkest moment of the stream, and then the dark stream will enter the darkest dungeon, and the dark streamer will stream the darkest dungeon on the dark stream, and that will be the lore of when I do that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
um,
Yeah, no, I don't hate on Epic the way a lot of other PC Master Race guys do. I think Epic is actually I approve of competition. So even though I love Steam and even though I think it's a benevolent monopoly, I still think it's a monopoly, or it was. And so having Epic come in and threaten that and shake things up a little bit, I think is only good. It's only healthy. Um, and you know what? They pay developers more for each sale of the game. That's hard to knock. That they
I
don't
mean,
give consumers as good of a deal, but
it's like it's half a dozen to one, six another sometimes.
exactly.
Well, as I agree, no monopoly is good. At the same time, it's like even in this conversation about Epic versus Steam, it's like, yeah, I can probably get the same game on both. And then you look at the prices, then it's like I have become a very like frugal gamer since in my youth. It was just like I want the new game, and now that I'm older and I pay for all my stuff, it's literally just like you know what? I found this for $5, and yeah, I'm gonna go with the $5 copy instead of the $20 copy.
Yeah, for sure. No, I get that 100% because I mean, frankly, there's also the option of pirating it. And when you have the choice of, I mean, I just found out Ratchet and Clank for the PS5 is $70. PS5 games are $70. When did it go up?
I
What
think
the
with
hell?
PS5, I think that's when it happened. It was PS5 and Xbox
It's
X.
a
Forgive
like
me if it's not X.
7-hour game for
Oh
$70.
man,
I
it's like,
love the
oh
franchise. I
man,
love the series. I
that's just a
desperately
whole
want to
like
play it.
rabbit hole to go down with the whole like price versus content thing. It's why
Yeah,
I don't
no,
buy.
it
It's the
is.
whole reason I won't buy a new game. It like
Yeah.
100% unless the brand new game is $25, which I actually bought one recently. So the very first full price game I bought, including anything for my kids, I bought the game I was just talking about, Ender Lilies, for $25. Play on stream. But it's 25, it's not 70. And it has more than 7 hours worth of content. I know, because I'm already 6 hours into the game. So unless it's going to be, I'm 6 hours and then it's done within an hour, which isn't going to happen because I've already seen like some later game content, I know I'm already safe.
Yep.
But like it's, oh man, it's, you know, video games, $70. What? And that's if you don't buy like the special collector's edition.
Right.
Which I mean, I keep going. That's a whole nother rabbit hole, Zell. Just don't start it. Now we're gonna start talking about the tote bags. What tote bags? People ask. Well, there was a game. I think it was Fallout 76, by the way. I think it was where you were supposed to get like it could have been a different game. It doesn't matter. Like an ammo case looking tote bag or some shit. And then people got sent
about this.
super shitty tote bags, and it was a special edition. It was like $120, and everybody got ripped off, and it was amazing. Wait, no, it was bad. It was very bad.
Yeah.
Are you a multiplayer or a single player guy?
Ooh, I am at heart a single player guy. 100%, which is, I think, part of the reason why streaming has actually been such a wonderful thing for me. Because it gives me the chance to connect with people while playing these single player games, which I had never had before. Well, actually, I shouldn't say never. Interestingly, so I started my whole streaming with the Final Fantasy series. That was all I was going to stream. I was just going to do every Final Fantasy game in order. I wasn't going to stream anything else. I eventually just decided to branch out from that, but I realized a couple months into streaming that series that literally the only other time in my life that I had sat down and played a game and had someone watch me play it was this weekend back in high school. Is the only time I've ever beaten Final Fantasy X. I would always like start playing the game and get pretty far and then just quit, and then when I would come back, I wouldn't know where I was anymore, so I would start over again and play through the content again, and that's the whole, RPG nightmare of coming back to it, right? You just can't do it. And that was me continuously with Final Fantasy X over and over and over again. So one of my friends, who was sick of me not having beaten the game, said, okay, come over this weekend. You're beating it this weekend. And I started a brand new game, and he sat on the couch and he watched me play the whole game in one weekend, Friday night to Sunday night. And that's the only other time anyone has ever actually just sat down and watched me play a game. And I just find it fascinating that, I streamed the game before streaming was a thing. I couch streamed Final Fantasy before, and then 15 years later, now I'm streaming Final Fantasy for real online.
I actually the only time I ever had the same situation was when my brother and I played games together because we would share our game time. But now that you mention it, I have never sat there and played, well, had other people watch me play a game. There we go. Or watched other people play a game. It's not like it was in the other direction either. But
like I sat down and there were a couple games where, like, I remember I played Mass Effect on a different friend's console because I didn't have an Xbox. And he would sit there on his PSP in the same room, and he was playing his own game, and I was playing Mass Effect on his console, and we were hanging out, but playing our own games. But he wasn't like watching me play, So that's kind of a different scenario that I think is a lot more common. But
what is the first console you ever played on?
So my mom tells me that the first console I played on was a Nintendo NES console. I don't remember that at all. But I spent my toddler years in Japan. I moved there when I was 1 with my mom, and I didn't leave until I was 4. And she tells me that we had an NES then, but I was so young, I don't remember that in the slightest. The first console I remember playing was when my dad brought home a PlayStation 1. And he brought home Spyro the Dragon with it. And that completely enraptured me. I was blown away by what I could do in that game. Still love that whole franchise. Just with so much nostalgia there. I just love it. It just feels so comfortable.
It was one of my first games too. I don't want to like. I'm like sitting here like, should I say it? It was one of the very first games I ever saw somebody play that I remember. Like my neighbor had it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that it's just like the same game. That was one of the first ones we saw, like that, that you remember. I know everybody had their first game, and mine was like a tie between World of Warcraft on PlayStation, because believe it or not, it was on PlayStation. First PlayStation.
Warcraft was on PlayStation?
The very first World of Warcraft was on the first PlayStation. And
wait, you mean Warcraft or World of Warcraft?
Oh, so it's all the same to me. Warcraft.
Okay.
You're like World of Warcraft, and I'm like, yeah,
not the MMO,
and I'm over
right?
here just like, because I don't understand World of Warcraft at all, because I'm just the guy who's like living in the past, who's just like, just bring back the original Warcraft. I'll take Warcraft 4, please. And then they're like, well, we got a new patch for WoW, and I'm just like, wow.
Well, they brought back the original Warcraft. They
remastered it and stuff, but that's not what I mean. I'll just play the original one.
No, I hear you.
What is the first video game you fell in love with?
I mean, it's hard not to answer Spyro the Dragon to that, just for the same reasons that I just talked about. But I am going to change that answer, because I remember my friend Johnny, when I was in middle school. I went over for his birthday, and he got this brand new game for PlayStation 1. I had never heard of it before. He had never heard of it before. Both of us were super excited by the art on this. It had like this guy with a sword and a dragon in the background, and we were like, oh, this looks super cool. And he puts the disc of Legend of Dragoon into the PlayStation, and I don't know if you're familiar with the game, but the opening scene, it starts off with a little bit of cutscene, and then it switches to in-game graphics. And the opening scene of the in-game graphics is the main character running horizontally through a forest, jumping up and over trees and stuff while a dragon chases him. And this was my friend's game, so he had the controller in his hand, and I thought he was controlling the character jumping up through the trees, and the motions that were, written and pre-rendered into the game were just so cool. He was like, putting one hand on the tree and jumping over it and then sliding as he landed, and it was so awesome. And I was blown away by what this new game could do. And I ended up later finding out that obviously was not like that, but I still just absolutely loved the game. To this day, the character of Lavitz in that game is one of my favorite video game characters of all time. It's a phenomenal game. If you haven't played it, definitely recommend it.
You're just offending me right now. Oh, the first game I ever remember seeing was Spyro. Oh, my favorite game is Legend of Dragoon. Oh, I have all the same opinions about Zelda as Zelda does on these video games. So actually, the Legend of Dragon wasn't the first game I actually fell in love with, but right now I call it my favorite game of all time, just because like between like actual game and nostalgia. So it was Final Fantasy VIII for a while, and then I decided it wasn't because I was kind of being a little ridiculous. I may have been
was
like,
it because of the orphanage?
No, I was just ignoring stuff that's wrong with the game. That like I don't remember that well because I played it when I was 7.
Yeah. Well, I'm playing through the game right now, and it is better than I remember it, for what that's worth.
Once you understand how the systems actually work, it's just like...
Yeah, I mean, the junction system,
so
honestly, I haven't been trying to break the game. I know that you can get Squall's ultimate weapon, Lionheart, in Disc 1 if you play cards. I explicitly didn't try to go do that. I know that there's all these different ways to break the game, and all I'm doing is making sure that anytime I encounter new magic, I draw all of it, and I know how the junction system works. And that alone is making the game a total breeze. It's the easiest Final Fantasy I've played yet, by far. Nothing else is even close.
Oh, it's so easy. Like all you need to do is be patient. If you're patient,
Yeah.
the game's done. Like once you understand, listen. Once you understand, put an attack spell on your attack, and I mean literally, you don't even need the rest. Actually, you don't have to junction anything else. You just attack.
It auto things for you. You just select auto attack, and it puts your best stuff on attack. It does it for you.
I mean, even further. Do you ever get emotional over video games?
Not really. Not like some people do. You know, I know a lot of people talk about you know how they watch a certain cutscene in a game, or even watch a movie or read a book, and it makes them cry and stuff, and that doesn't happen for me very often. um I don't know if I just repress my my feelings enough that I don't feel them, or what it is, but uh yeah, typically not. Even the saddest moments at the end of the whole Final Fantasy VII uh trilogy of games. I don't want to drop any spoilers here, but just everything that builds up to these incredibly sad moments. I I didn't even, I didn't feel sad. I was sad, but I didn't feel it, I guess. Does that make sense?
I mean, it does. I think that part of the reason I'm asking the question is I don't think that everybody gets emotional over video games. And I can completely understand somebody not actually getting that involved in a game because it is a video game at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, but
I also
I don't think
I
that takes
definitely
away from like I'm still invested in the game, and I still love the characters and what happens to them and everything. Um, but yeah, I won't cry from that, I guess. They can make me really happy. They can make me sad. They can make me angry.
what is your
That's for
favorite
sure.
video game of all time?
Favorite video game of all time. Man, I don't know if I can pick just one. I really don't know. Can I pick four? Is that okay? Can I list
Sure.
four?
If it's that easy to say 4, go ahead.
All right. If I can pick four in no particular order. In fact, I'm going to do it in alphabetical order just so there is no order. I don't have to think about it. So it would be Final Fantasy IX, The Legend of Dragoon, Spyro 1, and XCOM 2. So there's a reason I've mentioned two of those already. It's because I absolutely love them. The other two, I really do. I love them just as much. Although XCOM 2 requires mods in order for it to hit that point where I love it.
Your camera just went out for a second.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened.
It's
Is
an
everything all right?
internet thing. Either yours or mine. Just a little hiccup. It'll go. It just went away and it fixed real quick, but I had to. So. What makes?
Could you still hear me?
Oh yeah, I could hear you
Okay.
because Discord is. I think it's like it takes so much more to do the Ninja than it does the Discord. So
Yeah, for sure.
what makes a video game fun or unfun to you?
Oh man. there's a few things that can make a video game fun. There's a few genres of games I think that I fall into. There's those story-based games like Final Fantasy, Legend of Dragoon, um, where you just get so wrapped up in a story that is not only being told to you, but you are also acting out and making choices. And even if it's a super linear story, right, you're still the one initiating the choices being happening, and that just makes it all more real, I guess. Um, uh, Strategy games like XCOM 2 or Civilization, where you get the chance to make a plan, act it out, and react to the twists and turns that get thrown at you along the way. And the ability to still come out on top in those, I think, is what separates video games from so many other things in life, even when you could make those same types of tactical or strategic decisions. And it was why I usually play those single player, to be honest. And then there's just games uh, like Spyro or like uh, Dynasty Warriors, or the game that I've just started playing recently, new game Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, where man, it's just fun. You just go in and it gives you these satisfying movements where you get to control and feel the flow of your fingers across the controller and be the master of your adventuring fate, and all the little rewards that you pick up along the way. I mean, it's just little uh, uh, hits of feel good juice straight to your brain every time.
I had to prevent myself from buying. I had to control. I had to control myself from buying Dark Alliance when I saw it. I was like, they re-released this game.
Well, it's totally different. Okay, so they remastered Dark Alliance and released that on Switch, I think. Like the old one. And they also just released a new, like totally different version of the game. Yeah. I like it. I think it's good. It's getting totally review bombed. It has its issues. It's a little rough around the edges. But at its core, I find it to be a really fun game.
I think it looked exactly like I remember it in a good way. So, movie to the reviews. I literally was just like, I checked it, and whenever I see a new game, especially in a situation like that, I think it was on sale at Walmart. And then, like, I'm like, oh, well, how many people were playing it on Twitch? 70,000. Okay, well, alright, guess I'm not buying Dark Alliance. I'll wait until it's playable, because I only play games on Twitch anymore, so.
Right. It's
what
interesting the choices you have to make as a streamer of what games you're going to play, isn't it?
Well, it's fucking impossible. There's so many good... Dude, like, I'm sure you have to be somewhere similar, and I think any content creator has to be similar. Unless there's somebody who's just doing one game, which... God bless you if you can just sit there and play Dark Souls. Like, I tried that for like 3 days. 3 whole days. I was like, oh, I'm a Dark Souls streamer. Yeah, it didn't fucking pan out. You know why? They just couldn't do it. So if somebody can actually sit there and grind one specific game until, like, they have views, right? That's... But if you're not, which is the majority of people, I think, there's endless games to play. Unless you just don't like video games, but... There's literally endless games to play on stream in life, and yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah, and you have to balance sometimes, like, oh man, I saw this game. Should I stream it? Or should I not stream it? Like, maybe you do want to play the game. Great. Well, maybe sometimes it's better to spend your time streaming, not playing the game that literally nobody watches.
Yeah, I've had a few, fun little redemption streams of I played Sailor Moon RPG. How many people here knew that there was a Sailor Moon RPG? I played a adorable, fun little Sims-like game called Ghostmaster, where you play as little ghosts haunting a house, or different places, and it was a blast. But uh, could I make that something that I do as a regular thing to stream? No, because unless you're already big and you're bringing attention to that game, you can't grow doing that. That's actually why I played Zelda for so long. I was gonna quit playing Zelda a lot sooner, except that was significantly my most popular game that I was playing.
I
So
have not had any specific games. I mean, I guess if you want to say God of War 2018, there was a moment where that was definitely my best. But otherwise, I feel like my shit is almost too random. Like, I will play I will play a crappy game, it'll do fine. I'll play what I think is a great game. Nobody will be there. I'll play the same game, the same time, same day, 2 different outcomes. It's just
I'm surprised at how people like to watch speedruns. I thought I would do one speedrun and no one would want to play, no one want to watch it. And yet that seems to be one of the more popular things that I've chosen to do. Which is cool. I like doing it. But I'm surprised. I'm constantly surprised by Twitch, to be honest.
Speaking of Switch, now we are moving on into the streaming questions.
Hey, look at that natural segue.
Sometimes it works out, other times it doesn't, and then other times people are just being crazy on a stream and chat and should chill the fuck out. But how long have you been streaming for, Anth?
I just hit 1 year streaming. What was it? A couple weeks ago? A month ago now, maybe? Yeah, actually a month ago today. So it's been 13 months as of today that I've been streaming.
Yeah. I was like, has it been exactly 13 months for me too? No, it was just a little bit more. Wait. Okay, no, it's been more than 13 months. There we go. My brain wasn't working. I saw the date and I was just like, okay, it's almost the 1st. And I started May 1st, and then math, and then bad math, and then more bad math, and then finally real math came in. And then once the real math hit, it was just like, oh, okay, this makes more sense. You already went over why you chose your name because you guessed this question at the start. It was the start of the podcast, and you already knew what I was asking later. It was craziness.
Yeah, I can tell the story again if you want. It'll probably come out a little different.
What got you into streaming?
Okay, so I had a friend from middle school that I have only been connected with on Facebook. And one night I literally couldn't get to sleep, and so I was browsing. I almost never browse Facebook, but I was bored of browsing all the other sites that I browse, and so I switched over to scrolling through Facebook, and I saw that he posted that he was going live on Twitch. And so I was like, oh, I'll go watch a friend of mine stream. I have a friend that's a streamer. That's cool. And he was a brand new little babby streamer, right? And so I was like the only person in his chat, and I just chatted with him I ended up staying up like an extra 2 hours just watching him play. And this is my friend Olivox. And he has since basically quit streaming, but it was the act of watching him and then meeting some of his friends that also streamed and everything that totally changed my opinion on what streaming was and what it could be. All I really knew about it prior was, Ninja and Amaranth and, the streamers that made the big headlines. And I would always see, clips of them, and their chat is just, rapid fire, scrolling through, and the streamer never reads anything that's being posted. I had absolutely no interest in going into those streams and sending a message that I knew no one would ever read, right? And so I didn't care about Twitch. at all. I just ignored it as a platform, wholly and utterly. Uh, and then that night, of just interacting with him and seeing what it could be, and then the following couple weeks later, I decided, you know, I, I should do this for fun. I don't expect to get anywhere with it, but why don't I just try it? And I decided, you know what? My brother, who's 14 years younger than me, has never played a Final Fantasy game. I love Final Fantasy. I've always wanted to say I've beaten every Final Fantasy game. Why don't I just stream Final Fantasy for my brother? And if other people come in, cool. And if not, then I'm just playing Final Fantasy with my brother. And that's what I did. And then I just slowly started taking things a little bit more seriously. And then now here we are.
So I have to point out, I was gonna ask a different question, but you mentioned Ninja and somebody else. It doesn't even matter. But like, isn't it kind of strange how different streaming is? Right? Like, most people think of streaming as, I mean, also it's kind of where some of the misconceptions come into. So most people think of streaming as in like Ninja, Myth, Pokimane, whoever, the Ludwig. Yeah, I probably can't name as many big streamers as other people can. But and then you come into our neck of the woods, so the small streamer, whether it's Ollie just starting out or even right now, and it's not the same thing.
Absolutely not. It's not even close. And you know what's interesting? My streaming hero, frankly, I find the content that he streams is just genius. He's good at what he does. He's entertaining, and the way he puts content out on YouTube is an inspiration. And that's Small Ant. And he gets nowadays, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 15,000 concurrent viewers. And yet, because of the content and the streaming culture that he has cultivated, the way his chat is, he still gets to read most of what gets said. Now it goes pretty fast, and he misses things from time to time, especially when he's busy doing something. But he, to me, is the epitome of what someone like you or I could grow into, right? And before I really knew of him, I didn't think that was possible, because exactly what you're talking about, right? It's totally different when you look at those guys versus us. But it is doable,
well, I think that there's so many different things that go into it. The streamer has a lot to do with it. Like, everybody does their own thing. I even have small streamers who sometimes I see something they do and I'm just like, just a weird example. So, and I could just be wrong about this. I don't know if I should say this live. So, I don't believe in giving my subscribers anything special. I don't know if they'd appreciate the sentiment, but like, the way I see it,
because you want to make it all free and available for all.
It's not even just that. It's just like, if somebody isn't a subscriber and they're here, and they come in, should I treat them differently just because they didn't subscribe? Maybe they didn't have the money to subscribe, etc. And I know some people, they'll be like, oh, well, there's subscriber-only channels on the Discord and other things. Like, I saw somebody do like a board for subscribers, which admittedly was cool. It had limited space on it, but at the same time, I was just like, I don't know. I can't ever see myself, definitely not now. Like, there's emotes, and I do appreciate it. I sincerely appreciate it, because if ever one day I'm going to make it, if you will, I'll make it because more than likely off of sub revenue before it'll be anything else. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, it feels weird to me to be like, oh, to treat them like, just because somebody had money to give to me that month, to treat them differently than somebody who didn't.
Right. No, I totally get it. I totally get what you're saying. Um, you know, uh, but there's one of my VIPs in my channel who uh he was the first person to become a viewer of mine that I didn't know already in real life. And he's a minor. He's he's a kid. Um uh Towards the end of his teens. But he has never bought a subscription. And that doesn't matter to me. I don't expect that of him at all. Well, I don't expect it of any viewer. I don't know why anyone ever does it to me, but you know, it doesn't. I don't want to keep him from getting the that treatment any different. And I love it when I get gift subs and he's the one that gets the gift sub. That's honestly, it's my favorite person to get a gift sub, because like I said, he was like the first one, and I know that he just can't. It why would I hold that against him? Why would I keep him from having access to something? If it didn't cost me money to buy him a sub to my own channel, I would have given him a lifetime sub. But it literally cost me money, so I can't afford to do it.
I mean, all you have to do to give him a lifetime sub. This is definitely a thing, by the way. So, become a partner.
Yeah.
And you get a couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a true thing. It's only a couple, and that's why it's not like people talk about it. But if you become a partner, you will get a couple of lifetime subs. So, that's what you got to tell them now from now on. Just be like, listen, I get a couple lifetime subs, right? You come by all the time. Just get me to partner. I mean, like, it's step 1, step 2. You can see how this. Just ignore all the in betweens, mind you. You don't want anybody to get like worried that it won't happen.
No, it'll happen for all of us. We'll all become partners. Don't worry.
I don't know who we all is. I'm sorry, but like, it's not gonna happen. I'm fine if I don't become a partner. Like, that noise probably came off as super rude, but like, it's not gonna happen for everybody, unfortunately.
No,
I would love it to. I would love for every streamer that I actually truly enjoy. Like, I wish them the best. Even people who I don't have time to because of life and stuff, hang out with and shit like that. Like, it's just unfortunately not gonna happen. Probably not gonna happen for me, which is fine. I'll cry a little bit. Like one day. I mean, it might be on stream, it might be off stream. You never know with me. I'll cry a little bit. I'll be like, listen, guys, I'm to throw in my towel, which is sad because how useful towels are. Hashtag Hitchhiker Guys of the Galaxy. I'm not gonna be partner.
No. No, I mean, it's a sad reality that I think all of us small streamers really do have to face. To be perfectly honest, I think a majority of partners got their followings somewhere else. A vast majority of partners got their followings somewhere else. Whether that's just from YouTube content or they were someone who had a following before they joined Twitch and then became partner that way, that's the reality of it.
I mean, there's also another reality where partner doesn't mean shit. I know partner streamers who have the same amount of views as me, have less views. I know partner streamers who don't make a living off of Twitch.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
It's just that's the whole thing about it, right? It's obviously that's not guaranteed, but even further, like, even if you do get to that point, like, in the grand scheme of things, and I mean, I do think there's like a upward trajectory that if you do a mixture of the right things and fucking, there's definitely luck in there. Like, I'm sorry, I don't believe in anybody getting anywhere. There's definitely some, like, you can say what you want about people, like, obviously, no, like, hard work, blah blah blah. But there's definitely like some amount of luck that's going to go into anything. So if you hit the right amount of like, even if it's just a little bit of luck, and do the right things, I think that once you get to a certain point, you can really build on that. But getting to that point, oh god, isn't that the fight?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once you have something to grow from, that's different than planting those seeds in the first place.
And every time you think that you have your base, you go live like a week later, being like literally dancing, maybe not on camera, but you're just like, and then you go, where did all the people go? Why aren't you here today? I don't understand why nobody likes me today. I know this song very well. There are more lyrics to it, but that's all you guys get for today.
I know that song very well too.
Do you enjoy streaming?
I do, a lot. Which shouldn't have surprised me, but it did. I was in theater in high school, and I liked acting. I didn't really like doing the technical stagehand work, but what I really loved was being the MC. When we had our cabaret nights, I found that even though I was in a couple acts in the cabarets, my favorite part of the whole night was just being the host and being in front of the crowd and telling a couple jokes and introducing people to new things. And that was, I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I relished in it. And I think that's a lot more comparable to streaming than I ever thought it would be. Because that is what I'm doing. I'm emceeing the game, that I'm playing.
Oh, wait. You should say what MC is, because not everybody knows that.
Yeah, so, well, MC, I mean, it's literally... I don't even know if it stands for anything. I've always
my brain... No, you know what? My brain just had a total... For some reason, I heard DM, like Dungeon Master, and I was like, wait, he's talking about Dungeons and Dragons. No, not everybody knows this.
Yeah, Master of Ceremonies. Yes.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes I should, sometimes you should just stick to the questions, just stick to the questions. Like, why do you stream, Anth? Is it just for fun? Do you think it could be a job one day? Is there a mixed bag going on?
I would like it to be a job one day. That would be amazing. I mean, I'm just starting my teaching career, but I'll be honest, if streaming looked like it could become a career, I would give up teaching and I would go for streaming in a heartbeat. I find that the online communities are so much more... I don't know what the right word is, because so many of them are so full of vitriol and hate, and yet I think as someone who grew up using the internet, it has become easy for me to navigate my way through into finding the people that are so just open and wonderful and I don't know, that I find that people online are more often at least showing me a better side of themselves than what I get from the average person in person, I don't know if people are more comfortable being themselves or what exactly it is, but or if it's easier to find other people like you, that think like you, that appreciate who you are, because the internet's such a wide, big place. Yeah, I was really scared of streaming on Twitch because I thought I would just get all these trolls and nothing but people making fun of me and stuff. And to be honest, I haven't experienced that at all. It's been 13 months. there's not a single person that's ever come into my chat or into my Discord or into my online space and been a troll of any kind. And I've just felt I still feel very fortunate for that. And I know it's going to come eventually as long as I stay online. It'll
I think
happen. But
I think some people get their unfair share of that, and then other people
oh,
just
for
don't
sure.
ever like there'll be some people who will all the time just like for whatever reason like I okay, I raided somebody recently. Here's a good example. Raided somebody recently, random raid. I've been trying to be a little bit more selective about my random raids, but then at the same time it's like you can only do so much.
Yeah.
And I raid the person because I looked at the stream for a little bit, while I was doing my winding down. I raid him. I think we were playing Doom. Doesn't really matter what we were playing though. And the guy goes, "Oh, is it one of those raids?" I'm just like, "Whoa!" Like, what do you mean? Have you seen through my soul? Did you know I randomly chose to raid you just in hopes to find somebody that I would like? Is this what's going on? And he's just like, it's one of those raids where like people come in and troll and shit. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry
me
that
neither.
that's your reaction to me deciding to raid you.
Well,
I hope I'm not one of those raids.
yeah. I can't speak for that guy in particular because that guy might have just gotten unlucky and might have had
Yeah.
bad experiences with that, and that soured his disposition on that. But I do think the sad truth is that there are a good number of people that have done absolutely nothing to deserve all of the trolly comments. Like, frankly, being a woman online, you get shit. That's just the way it is. People come in and say dirty things to you or just pervy things or whatever, right? That's just a sad truth. And so being not a woman, I get the opportunity to avoid that. But you know, where I was going with this is that I think unfortunately there are people unintentionally that bring this kind of stuff onto themselves. Um, by having that kind of reaction to a raid, right? Because now the only people who are going to want to stay are going to be the people who know they're going to get a reaction out of him because he's already reacting this way to someone not trolling him, right? And and again, I don't know that this person and this person's experience may not be that case, but that if someone acts that way, most of the time, what else can you expect for them?
I mean, I'm never gonna raid them again.
Right?
like,
Right? You're
I
not
mean,
coming back, and you're a great person, and all of
like
your viewers are probably not coming back.
I
And
think that
but
was
who will come
probably
back?
of the random people I've rated. I think that was the least anybody's ever seen chat or because like the first thing he did was like he was just like, oh, is it one of those people? And then I think the moment he said that, like there were people who didn't care what kind of person was coming out of his mouth. They were just like, yep, I'm not one of those people. So I'll see you in the next lifetime.
Yep.
I won't say in every situation, obviously, because that's not what you meant. You didn't mean in every situation people bring it upon themselves, but there are different situations.
Right.
And there are also situations where other people who aren't that person kind of bring the problem to them, if you will. But
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, and sometimes, I can think of someone that I know that, quite frankly, uh, they, by keeping an association with a certain other person in their life, they are bringing that kind of negativity into their life. And I don't know if they're making that as a conscious decision or whether they just don't realize that that's the person causing them all that grief. That can be a hard thing to realize when you're the one in the middle of it. And I can't blame these people for that. you know. But it's something that I always try to think about. It's something I am always trying to take a step back and reflect on, you know, is what I did in my last stream going to uh, continue furthering the great community that I have so far, or will it start to sour that community? You know, I always try to take that step back, and I think every streamer should.
I think that's a good point. I mean, the same thing that's good about being online is the same thing that can be bad about being online.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can just go that one step too far when you're like, whether you're mad or upset or something, maybe you say some shit, and then like you're like, no, I didn't. Well, too late. You already fucking said it. You already did it. Whatever you did.
Yep.
So while it's nice that you can be online, you can connect with people. It's all. I mean, it's also just takes that little bit of amount of time to just be like, oh, and not everybody's gonna sit around to find out whether or not you were actually that big of an asshole.
Right.
or whatever the situation is. Like, for some reason in my head I immediately went to like some crazy rage situation, and that was it.
No,
But
and there's been times where I've raged on stream, and I hate that I've done that because, you know, who knows who came in just in the middle of that rage that could have been a great friend that didn't stick around because they saw me in a bad mood. So I don't want to put that out there.
That's fair. I've had my moments. I'll be the first one to admit. I had one the other day. My daughter came in. I was playing a very, very difficult part of a very difficult game. Came over there and she's like talking to me, and she had gotten home from school and she killed me, and I got so mad. I just quietly ended the stream. Like, well, that happened. Now I'm clearly furious. No, I mean, it's not like I yelled at her or nothing. It was just like, oh man, of all the times I come in and like she like took my earphone off and she was just like talking to me, and I'm just like, oh man.
I've had my cat jump up on my keyboard multiple times and end my emulators. Like, just I don't know how she knows what buttons to press, but
Dude,
she hits
cats
whatever
are magic.
F keys. And
Cats,
just...
and I've come to find babies. Okay, I could literally just like start hitting buttons on my keyboard. Here, I'm doing it now. Okay, I'm going. I have another laptop open here, right? I just hit enter. That's what I got. It's right there, right? None of that turned into turning off the power, taking a screenshot, and downloading something all at the same time. But cats and babies, it's fucking magic.
Completely capable of
like,
that.
You just found a shortcut that doesn't fucking exist. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's been times since that I've like picked her up and frankly on camera it probably looked like I just threw her against the wall, but you know, I just tossed her off to the side of my chair. And then afterwards I've thought about how did that look? And
I mean, depends on your facial
that.
expression. There's like the whole just like, and then there's the whole. So I hope it was the former, not the latter, but you know.
Well, no, because you know I was upset. Playing a game that I was already raging at, and Kylie jumps up and is threatening to hit some button, and I I'm
up through
upset.
her. You yelled, "This is Sparta."
My foot came up and just went off camera, following her. No.
What is the biggest you would ever want to be on Twitch?
Oh man, I mean, I said earlier, you know, I see Small Ant as a streaming idol. If I could just emulate his success and his version of success on Twitch, I would be very, very happy with that. Now, you know, I'll be honest with you, if I got to that, I wouldn't want to stop growing. I don't think there's a point that I could get to where I would want to stop growing. at a certain point, you know, the content just evolves to continue growth. If I had, uh, you know, if I had 100 million subscribers on YouTube, you know, I would have a team of people that I worked with, and it wouldn't be just me anymore, you know. And if I'm the one that got to there, I'd be running that, and you know, it's hard to envision exactly what that would look like because I don't know what it would take to get there. But yeah, I can't see an upper limit for where I would just not want to grow anymore. Now there's plenty of limits where I would be perfectly content. I already have achieved vastly more success on Twitch than I ever thought I would. And
I
that's
think
enough for me already.
I think another good thing to add to that point, right? So, and it's part of the reason why the word growth is a funny word. Because not everything equals growth. It sounds silly, but I have a lot more followers than a lot of people who I'm not I don't get more views than most. You know, there are plenty of people who have half my followers who have the same amount of views. Like, it's just the reality. But even in the situation you're talking about, like, let's say you do get small ant size, or, in some ways, once you get to a certain point, you have to continue to grow to sustain. So, like,
Yeah.
there's, like, growth where you're, like it's funny because a lot of what we do, and we don't think about it, a lot of what we would consider quote-unquote growth on streams, for, like, whatever reason, is actually, like, linear growth. Because, like, you like, did something, and then you like, you just ended up with new people because, you know, fucking shit happens. Like, literally,
Yep.
like, I changed my time of day for streaming, and I'll be the first one to be like, man, like, I had all of my mods on every stream, and now there are streams where I'm just like, do I need more mods? Do I need to mod myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand, because now I'm streaming at a completely different time zone from when you agreed to do this.
Yeah,
So,
no,
like,
you're absolutely right about that linear growth, right? Like there's a certain amount of growth you have to get just to sustain the success you've already reached.
yeah.
And the more success you get, the more growth you have to maintain that. Interestingly, that's actually the same concept as working out, right? If you want to be, if you want to lose weight, frankly, that's relatively easy in the grand scheme of working out, right? You can lose weight by going to the gym twice a week and walking on the treadmill for an hour, depending on what your weight is, right? And you'll begin to lose weight there. But once you've lost that weight, if you want to lose more weight, you have to work harder. Now you have to go to the gym twice a week to walk on the treadmill, and you have to go to the gym twice a week to do weightlifting, right? That's so it's the same idea, right? The more success you have, the harder you have to work just to maintain that success. And even harder you have to work to grow beyond it.
So, it is time for the almighty streaming question. Wow. Audience questions. You know,
Audience
it works.
question.
My brain works. For the audience
Yes.
questions. First question we have comes from Agent Spacely. He asked. Sorry, I don't know if it's worded like a question, but let's try this. So, you're a teacher, but that's something someone else taught you that carries you to this day. Oh, sorry. But what's something someone else taught you that carries you to this day?
Okay. Oh. Okay, you know what the first thing that comes to mind for that is? I'm just gonna go. The first thing that comes to mind on that. I don't even know that this is anything like the answer you're looking for there, Spacely. But uh, when I was in third grade, um, my parents decided that they needed to put me in a daycare. And um, I had never been in a daycare before, so they didn't know about any of them. And they looked around, and the only one that they could find that they liked was a religious daycare. Now, my family is not and has never been religious of any kind. But that wasn't going to be a reason not to let me go there, right? Just because it's a religious institution doesn't mean I shouldn't go. So they checked it out, and the daycare said, yeah, there's a Bible study once a week, but, we're just there to take care of the kids. And, well, it turned out that it was Bible study for the first hour of every day. Which is not what my parents had agreed to, right? So after a couple months of this, I started coming home and I was just talking about God and Jesus all the time, right? Because that's what I was getting from daycare all the time. And my mom sat me down, and I will never forget this conversation. This is the conversation to me that defines the person my mom is, and how wonderful and understanding and empathetic she is. She sat me down, and I was like 8 years old, and somehow she got me to understand that it was perfectly acceptable for me to believe these things, and for the people that were telling me these things to believe these things. But what she didn't want was for me to believe them just because an adult was telling me them. And, as an 8-year-old, that concept kind of blew my mind, that adults could say something that wasn't just the de facto 100% truth. And so I spent the next 10 years of my life, at least, 12, 13, 14, 15 years of my life, really, being open and receptive to the different ideas of different religions, and ultimately came to my own decision in all of that. That I don't know that I could have come to my own decision if she hadn't sat me down and explained that big concept to me. So, yeah, I don't know if that's what you were looking for there, Spacely, but hopefully it's a good.
You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
That's right.
Bree would like to know if you have any idea, because you probably don't. I mean, my answer would probably be it's a small world, by the way. But how did one of your students end up finding your stream?
Oh, okay. So, I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and as soon as my kids found out that I streamed, which I don't hide that. Actually, I'm more than open to tell them that I do stream, but I have scrubbed my real name off of all of that stuff, so they can't search me up by my name to find it. Because especially with my cosplays and stuff, I really don't want their parents. It's just not a conversation I want to have. But I agreed to a deal with any 8th graders that wanted to know if they graduated with straight A's, I would give them the name of my Twitch, as long as they also promised not to tell any other students. So far that seemed to be a success. We'll see if that holds in the future.
Spacely. We're creating a theme here. You'll see it soon. Spacey would like to know if you could live life as a certain animal, what would you be and why? Not an alligator or crocodile.
No, I wouldn't pick an alligator or a crocodile. No, it's funny actually. I don't really like alligators or crocodiles. I don't know if I should say that, but as actual animals, yeah, no, they're not my favorite. But the answer to that question is easy. 100%, I would be an otter, a river otter. Just no question in my mind. Get to play in the river all the time. Still be a predator. Get to hold hands with other otters. Yeah, it's the perfect life.
Spacely would like to know. If you were assembling a band, which Twitch streamers and or YouTubers will be in your band? You must choose 4, which is kind of aggressive for somebody asking a question, but yeah.
I was in a band. Oh gosh. Well, okay. I would play the jaw harp because it's the only instrument I am remotely capable of playing. And also, that would be the coolest band ever that has a jaw harpist. Like, let's be real. After having heard him sing, there's no doubt in my mind that the singer of this band would be the official Crane, who primarily streams mod creation for Final Fantasy VII and 8. He's one of the directors of the Echo S mod that's adding voice acting to Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII, the original versions of those games. Yeah, so he would be my singer. I have to think about who I know that has musical talent.
I think he's being ridiculous with the you must choose 4. I mean, I had an easy answer, by the way, because I know a band who all streams on Twitch, and there's 3 of them. And actually, I know a 4th person who, like, I would just add in. It'd be like, so the man's name is Partheon, it's Zian, Woolrammer, and Progcraft. And then I know another guy who does music streams whose name is Return of the Dukes. Now I have a band. Fuck you, Spacely. But I also cheated, right? Because I started with a whole band. I started with a band, and then I added 1 person. Spacely, I mean, Captain Jessu would like to know, where do babies come from?
Where do babies come from? Okay, well, when a man and a woman really love each other or meet on Tinder, that's as far as I'm going with that.
You meet on Tinder. I mean, it's the same answer I gave. Spacely, for real, would like to know, what has been your greatest achievement, and what do you want to be your new greatest achievement? I hope this is Twitch. I think he means Twitch. I don't know if he means in general.
Well, I'm just gonna take that as in general. My greatest achievement, man. You know, in my life, I haven't received a lot of accolades or awards for things. But I also don't compete for those kinds of things a lot either. I mean, no, okay, I can tell you what my greatest achievement is, and it's because of everything that led up to actually even undertaking the achievement in the first place. As of 2 years ago, when I graduated from my university, I was the only undergrad student to ever even take a specific graduate level course, which I took in my last semester at that university. And that course was a bioenergetics class. It was all focused on the specific mechanics of how the mitochondria in the cell actually convert nutrients to ATP and how they convert ATP into energy. It was my relationship that I built with that instructor while there, who's one of the best instructors I've ever had. I first had him as a bioethics instructor, and I learned more about life in that class than any other class I've ever taken. And yeah, he didn't tell me that I was the only undergrad that had ever taken it. I knew that I was the only undergrad in the class that semester, but it was only after I graduated that he told me during the graduation party that I was the only undergrad to ever take it. And and I've never quite really felt that honored because he asked me to take it. You know, he came to me and said that he thought I should take this graduate level class. And that was just really really cool. That meant a lot, you know. Um what do I want the next greatest achievement to be? Man. Um well, I want my students taking my PE course to come away from my class with uh not just more understanding of how the human body works, but I want at least one or two of them to come away with a love for how the human body works, and or a love of fitness or something. I want to motivate a kid into something productive. That's what I want my next greatest achievement to be.
Agent Spacely would like to know. Totally not multiple questions in one. How would you design a console? Comma. What are the must-haves? Question mark. What would give consoles more purpose other than exclusive machines?
Oh. How would I design a console? Gosh, I don't
You're not
don't
a
know.
console engineer?
Yeah. I I don't think the consoles are poorly designed. Um, I don't know that there's a specific design element I could even critique, other than the fact that because they're well, I don't know why it is, but for whatever reason, you know, the engines that so many games are built in are hard to translate into other consoles. And I guess that would be the thing I would change if I was a console designer, because the console exclusivity. That's the thing. Console exclusivity is the only reason that consoles sell, right? If everyone could play any game on PC, but only some games on Xbox, some games on PlayStation, and some games on Nintendo, everyone would have a PC, and no one would have the other consoles. It's the exclusivity that the consoles provide. Unless you're talking about handheld consoles, which provide,
Portability.
you know, portability, right?
I mean, I'm gonna have to agree with you for the most part. And also, like, as far as designing your own, the exclusivity is where your console's never gonna take off the ground. Because, I mean, wasn't there like I feel like there was one recently, a Google one or some bullshit. Arcadia,
the
Arcadia.
Stadia. Yeah, I have a Google Stadia sitting in my room. They sent it to me for free for being a YouTube Premium subscriber. I've never opened it.
You heard it here first. You get a free $200, $300 console, and it's a paperweight.
Yeah. Because the only reason I could play any games on that is if I signed up and paid monthly from there. I don't want to do that. So yeah, send me the console. I'll see if I can sell it later. And then I never tried to turn around and sell it. So
Chad would like to know. Sorry, it's whole 4K. Probably don't know who Chad is. Do you have your Final Fantasy cosplays lined up for the rest of the games or no?
no, so those are decided by my Discord. It's put to a vote in my Discord. The very first cosplay I ever did was cosplaying Aerith for Final Fantasy VII, and that I just came up with that as a joke one day. Okay, in order to explain that, I have to actually take a step back, because the reason that came up at all was because I had been forced to cosplay as a cheerleader so many times on my stream that I actually had to limit the channel point redemption to once a week, because otherwise I was going to wear my cheerleader outfit every time I ever streamed. No matter how many channel points I set it for. And that all came about because I had bought that as a joke for Halloween a couple years back, and then I posted a thing when I found it in the closet again, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, you have to wear that," and so that developed from there. And then I joked that I should wear Aerith. I need to stop joking about things, apparently. And so I put it as a donation goal. I said, hey, if I'll wear Aerith if you guys buy it for me, right? And it took no time at all for people to pay it's like $150 for the whole cosplay. So I got that, and then I decided to put it to a vote for the next games. And so every time we finish the donation goals to allow me to purchase the next cosplay, I just put a vote up for the next one. So currently, we have purchased the Aerith one, obviously, Selfie for Final Fantasy VIII, Vivi for Final Fantasy IX, Auron for Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X-2 actually has two different cosplays I'm going to alternate between. One is going to be Payne's mascot cosplay, which is where she dresses up like a giant Tonberry, and then also Yuna's Gunner cosplay, which is her main outfit in the game. And then currently there's a donation goal for me to dress up as Axel for my Kingdom Hearts playthroughs. No one was really excited about cosplays for Final Fantasy XII, and so I put up, hey, maybe I'll do a cosplay for Kingdom Hearts instead, and that got voted on. So
I was hoping for Queen for 9, but honestly, Auron, top tier choice for number 10. Just saying.
Yeah, I've actually got my Vivi hat sitting.
I see
there.
it now. Now that you pointed to it, that is in fact a Vivi hat, isn't it?
And then my selfie nunchucks are on the wall behind me, and my Aerith wig is right there. So.
Last but not least, well, I guess we'll go with this one first. I'd want to know why nobody had suggested Faye. I think the answer is just because you play as Vaughn in number 12, so at like 12 on, characters become... Because of the way the games work, I think the characters become a little bit less interesting, to be honest with you. But
yeah, I think it's just that my community doesn't care about 12. Honestly, I think that's why they went for it. I can check. I did get a couple other votes for a couple other characters. Let's see. Like Balthier actually was the second place vote, and Fran got one vote. But I think people were just in love with the idea of a Kingdom Hearts cosplay instead of a Final Fantasy 12 cosplay. Yeah.
So, last but not least, Chad would like to know, assuming your students are doing remote, how seriously would you be grading them?
So students won't be doing remote this year. This last year they did, but yeah, we'll be full in person, no masks here where I'm at. No social distancing, no quarantine behavior of any kind anymore. I don't know if that's just my state or what, but yeah, we've been pretty good here recently. So yeah. So I'll be grading them.
I'll be grading them in person,
seriously.
bitch.
Yeah.
So, a couple more before our grand finales. Grand finales. Fine lilies. I should say, before our ender lilies. What is the biggest Twitch controversy that has gotten your attention or impacted your stream, and why?
There have been absolutely no Twitch controversies that have impacted my stream. Frankly, even the whole DMCA thing, I still sing songs on my stream, and my VODs get muted, but I don't have any copyright strikes. um, which is frankly, I think the way it should have been. I think that's what should have happened with the whole DMCA thing, because it's honestly, it's frankly bullshit. I don't think the record industry should have the right to care about this kind of content. I think it's transformative. Now I think they have, legitimate complaints about if someone is only playing music on the stream.
Yeah,
If they just leave a stream open that's just playing music, that's different. It's a different story. But I think that needs to be an individual basis.
I think there's okay, first off, any video games songs that are in a video game that you're gonna get in trouble for, no matter the video game, I don't care if it's Just Dance or Grand Theft Auto, that's just atrocious. That's it's in the video game. Another big one was the Kingdom Hearts one recently.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, exactly. That's what I was gonna talk about.
Simple and clean or whatever, okay, guys, you're being ridiculous. So there's that, but I completely agree in situations where it's transformative, as you said, like if there's an actual. But what I will say is, if you're just playing Call of Duty with top 20 music on in the background, is that transformative?
But is it harming anyone?
Is it harming anyone? I mean, no.
Is it harming anyone? Is it impacting?
You could literally sit there and be like, "Hey, everybody, tune in to this same thing." I don't think it's harming anybody. I just was saying I don't think that playing Call of Duty.
You're right. That's not transformative, and I think you're right on that. But I don't think that there's any harm in it either. I don't see their pocketbooks being affected in any way except possibly positively.
Unless you make a Twitch stream that's actually a radio station, and I think this is a pretty fair statement. Unless you make a Twitch stream that is literally a radio station, what's the thing with the music is, who are you supposedly stealing from? Like people are most streams, not every stream. Like I've found some streams to be a little bit quieter, but you can always just go get free music instead. Most streams, the background music is fucking background music. People aren't there because you're playing fucking Ariana Grande or 2 Chainz or whatever the fuck you're playing,
Exactly.
I don't remember anybody, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, being like, "Yo, you gotta go check out this Nick Merckx stream." I mean, first off, I've actually never heard anybody say that. But second off, I've never heard anybody be like, "Yo, you got to go check out this Nick Merckx stream. He's playing the newest shit on the like." Never has happened. Never, not once. So yeah, I'm going to agree with you that who is it hurting? Probably nobody. Are people just being dicks? Yeah. Is there a better way to solve it? Probably.
Yep.
I
mean, it started with YouTube, right? And the YouTube videos. Now I totally get people were posting YouTube videos of just the songs of these bands that wasn't available to stream otherwise, and they deserve to have a copyright claim for that. The owner of that song should make the money from the YouTube video on that. Absolutely. But yeah, people just using it in backgrounds and stuff, that I think it needs to cool the hell down.
I mean, I also had my own opinions that it mostly cut closer to the vest. They plan on one day eventually, right? I have some crazy opinions that people probably wouldn't agree with me on. So it involves the fact how many larger streamers, first off, were doing this, and second off, the idea that the reason why DMCA is a thing is because people with money got a lawyer. And I just thought it was funny listening to like somebody with literal millions and millions of dollars that they got from content creation bitching about DMCA, and I'm like, if anybody could get a fucking lawyer, right, to go change the law like they did, right? I have no idea who it would be. It wouldn't be the guy making a YouTube video with 100 million views making money off of bitching it. That wouldn't be the same guy, right?
Probably not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's kind of like I just feel like if even like a tenth of the larger creators who actually make more than a living instead of bitching about it. I mean, excluding like Harris Helder, who's just trying to make money off of you not listening to normal music because he has stream beats. Excluding one person who owns a music company, literally everybody else, like nobody had the thought. I guess you know that's how it works, and it might be dumb, but you could just use their system against them. And I feel like even further, because I think you have a better case for the most part. You probably wouldn't have to pay your lawyer as much. But as I said, one of these days I'm gonna, I'll set up the whole YouTube thing and I'll throw my rants on there, and I'll have everybody leave my channel forever. I'd be like, oh, I'll say the one thing wrong, and I'll be like, listen, I'm not talking about you, and somebody's gonna be like, he's talking about me, I know it, and that'll be the end of Zellshot. But until that day, that is the sneak peek of my DMCA thoughts.
You're planning on getting canceled one day?
I mean, I think we should all plan on being canceled one day. If you don't plan on being canceled, then what are you going to do when it happens? Freak out.
That's fair. That's fair.
If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice about streaming when you first started, what would it be?
Oh, man. Yeah, if I could give myself one piece of advice for when I started streaming, it would be don't lock yourself into a 30-game marathon. I, you know, don't get me wrong, I love playing Final Fantasy, and I'm really looking forward to streaming a lot of the content that will be a part of that. But, I'm also looking at the ways that I think I could grow as a streamer. And that doesn't include Final Fantasy, even with my cosplays. My cosplays have certainly played their role in getting me to where I am today, but I have since stumbled upon other things that I think people enjoy watching more. Not necessarily individual people, but people as a collective, my Pokemon Nuzlocke, I think, are gonna be one of my most popular streams. They certainly have been so far. They've generated the most conversation. They're the most interesting content that I've made, I think. My Spyro speedruns that I do, for some reason, are very popular overall. I don't really understand why, but they are. So it's more of that kind of content that I would advise myself to lean into if I could have known that I would have, ever gotten here in the first place.
It's kind of funny because, like, to me, there's some definite irony, because I actually think that I think that doing like a niche thing would actually be a better idea. So like the whole Final Fantasy thing, like sticking to it for like different reasons, but like obviously not forever. But as far as like building an audience goes, because I never stuck to anything, if anybody could tell. And then when I try to stick to something, my schedule changes.
Yeah.
I'm on my third Zelda game, and I will tell you that the number of people who have come in because of Zelda and stayed are probably the number of people who I've seen in my stream because of Zelda, which is none. But like, I don't know. It's like a back and forth, right? Like, there's ways to like grow in like a niche, and then there's other stuff that, and I think what happens a lot with more variety streamers is a lot of people come and stay for the streamer, not necessarily specifically what you're doing.
For sure.
And then, as you said, like with the Pokemon thing, you'll hit something where like people just like, that's one of the things that I wanted to do the most. That I just, when do you fit into Pokemon Nuzlocke? Started this conversation earlier a little bit. Like, when do you fit that in?
Like in my streaming schedule?
No, just in general. Like, if you're playing just in general for any creator, right? Like, I plan on doing a Pokemon, and I was like, okay, I'll fit it in sometime. Like, I'll get there, you know.
Yeah, that's I had to quit playing Zelda in order to fit it in. Yeah.
I just stopped playing all Zelda. I still even think that just, I mean, that's just crazy. That's how it works, though, right? Also, though, I will agree though that doing a 30-game marathon probably wasn't like.
Yeah, it was just a lot. You know, if I grew up loving Zelda instead of Final Fantasy, and if I had started by playing the whole Zelda franchise instead, I would be done with it by now. And I could, you know, I could either be choosing to go back and revisit it, or I could be moving on to other types of content. And so, yeah, especially with so many of the, frankly, really small, niche, very likely going to be shit games ahead of me in that future, with stuff like Final Fantasy Tactics A2. You know, a game that literally even people that I know that adore Final Fantasy, love every piece of every Final Fantasy, haven't heard of Final Fantasy Dimensions, and that's on my list to play. And is anyone gonna come check out Final Fantasy Dimensions? No. All I can do is hope that. Yeah, I can just hope that I, you know, am an entertaining enough streamer during it, and I enjoy it enough that my audience enjoys watching it when I get to it.
I would like you to sell your stream to us. Why should we go to an Anthogator stream?
Well, if you like seeing a bearded man in a wig, then you should come to my stream.
That's so specific.
No. So, I mean, you've listened to me for the past hour, and I think if you enjoy my attitude, my opinions on things, then come and check it out. You know, we talk plenty about the types of games I play, right? If you like Final Fantasy, I'm doing the whole franchise. I'm cosplaying as a character for every single one of them. If you like Kingdom Hearts, I'm playing through the whole franchise. Even the games that I really hate, I'm powering through it. If you like Pokemon Nuzlocke, I did a 24-hour stream where I beat my very first Pokemon Nuzlocke, the very first time I'd ever played that Pokemon game. And I did it. And it was the most dramatic thing I've ever done in my life. I speedrun Spyro. If any of those things sound interesting, or if I seem like an interesting person, come on by.
All right. It is that time. Mr. Anthogator, sir. Are you prepared to do an unveiling, unmasking, and unraveling? Do you have something for us?
Yeah, so it's interesting because you kind of actually talked about this a little bit a few minutes ago, and you illustrated my point very well, I think, when you did. I think a lot of people forget online that emotions are important and a very real thing for people. And opinions on things are important and a very real thing for people. And those two things are so connected. So when you get all these people online Um, I did this before I was a streamer, but it is so much stronger now that I am a streamer, where I've held back on sharing those opinions, on sharing the things that have made me vulnerable, or made me feel vulnerable at least. Even to the point where, I stopped making posts on Facebook, even on the things I was excited about, let alone I never posted on Facebook on the things that I was sad about. And uh, those emotions, those opinions are very, very much a part of who we are. I'm a very opinionated person, especially when it comes to some of the more divisive topics in our culture as a whole right now. But I don't feel like I can share those things on stream or online at all. And that means that I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way, right? And that means that all of us who are presenting ourselves online through social media or through something even more revealing like streaming, uh, we don't get a chance to share everything about ourselves, who we really are. Even hundreds and thousands of hours with a person, and you don't get a chance to ever see that piece of them. Um, I think that is one of the most important things that we as a culture can overcome is if we can figure out together how to express these kinds of opinions, beliefs, vulnerabilities without uh, receiving the repercussions that we're all afraid of. And I'm not trying to talk about cancel culture like this. I'm not trying to say that, oh, if I talk about my political beliefs, I'm going to get canceled. That's not what I'm talking about at all, right? I'm not even talking about political opinions, just talking about, you know, the fact that if I'm upset with, I don't know, my boss or a coworker or whatever, you know, the fact is we connect with people online. And if I can't share those vulnerabilities with the people I'm connected with, who can I share them with? That's what I want us as a whole, as a collective, to come together to solve. And I don't have an answer. I don't. I hope to one day be able to find the strength to come out and find the words for the things that I want to stand up for. I have very strong political beliefs that I wish I could express to everyone and help people understand why I hold these convictions. But I'm always afraid that if I start that, you know, that's what people are going to see me as, and only that. So
Thank you so much, Antho.
that's us. Yeah.
Um, I mean, whether we're talking about politics or religion or even just some like fucking literal Twitch topics, I think you're very right
Hmm.
that very often we can't or feel that we can't. Both are actually true, mind you. You can't
Yeah.
come out and really say what's on your mind often. Even sometimes just little things like maybe something's stressing you out. Because it's not always like the vibe, if you will.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah.
think it would
I
definitely
don't
be
know if
better.
we just need to develop different spaces online for that type of thing. If that could happen, if that should happen, I don't know. But I wish it would.
I
There's a
mean,
whole generation of people growing up right now. I'm watching it happen that uh you know, they're growing up with the internet as their way to connect with people, and right now, the internet is limited in how we can connect.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, that's a part of the reason why I want to do the podcast. Um, More specifically, as far as streaming stuff goes, right? Um, because you know, usually we aren't usually don't have the voice to come out and even just say what we're feeling about streams and stuff. You know, it's as I mentioned at the start, we go onto the stream and we're trying to entertain people, and you know, if we're frustrated about fucking literally anything, there isn't a way for you or I or anybody else to without like, and I guess what I'm trying to say without guarantee, there's no way to come out and tell your truth or tell your feelings and know that nobody's going to take offense and nobody's going to go crazy. And as you said, I like the words, think that's all you're about, right?
Right.
Because no matter what it is, what we're so much more than just one idea.
Exactly. And you know, I think that's we see this all the time, right? With celebrities and athletes getting asked their opinion on whatever controversial topics are of the day. And then when they answer the question, other people bitch and moan that now this celebrity is trying to talk about this topic that's not related to them. Well, guess what? If you went to the bar and just talked about it, the guy next to you is going to talk about it. People talk about things. People have opinions and beliefs, and they share those. And just because someone has a platform, whether it be a celebrity or an athlete or a streamer, I don't think it means that they shouldn't be able to express any of those things.
I agree. On that note, time for us to bid adieu. Thank you so much for coming on. I always enjoy the podcast. We always learn so much about the streamers who come on here that there's always multiple things that I definitely learned that I would not have found out in a normal streaming situation.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
So thank you for coming on. Thank you for being such a lovely guest. It's time to go. I will say before I push you away that. So hold on for a second and let me know who you would like.